Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 10-minute opening guide here on the Pawn String YouTube channel. We've already done a video on the London system and the King's Indian defense. Today we're going back into a deep dive with the white pieces. Today we're talking about the Catalan opening, which is a very reliable opening. You can play with white pieces against literally everything that black has. So it is the d4 opening, but it is very reliable. I play it. It's my go-to opening for the white pieces. I hope you enjoyed. Let's get started. As I said, it starts with d4, and we're going to be playing this as a Queen's Gambit declined opening. So that'll look like this, and it'll start with the Queen's Gambit. You don't have to play that right away. You can play knight to f3, but in this case, we're going to play c4 right away. Your opponent is going to decline it, which is how the Catalan gets going. And from here, we're going to go with the moves to start out will be knight to f3, knight to f6, g3, g6, and let's just say your opponent mirrors you, and we have two castles. And okay, so from now on, we're going to talk about two different variations. There's the bishop g5 variation, which is where you can trade here, or there is the knight to c3 variation, which will look like this, and we'll get into that. So first we're going to go with the bishop g5 variation, which is where you go bishop g5 with your dark square bishop, and your opponent can go knight to c6. And like I explained in the other videos, the last two videos, this is not supposed to be like your only like repertoire building video. This is just to give you some ideas based on some things that white may play against you. So that's a lot of ifs and maybes and things like that, just to give you some ideas. So I hope you don't take this the wrong way and think of it like a full opening guide. I'm trying to make it a guide, but it's to give you the basics in 10 minutes, basically, not just a full like chessable course in 10 minutes. Okay. All right. Let's say they play knight c6. My thing is, okay, so there's a lot of arrows here. Let me explain. Knight to c3. And from here, you're going to go on from the basis that they play h6. Okay, you can take here. If they take with the queen, that's fine. Now you're going to play rook to e1. And the point of rook to e1 is you want to go for a center attack right away. Now, let's say they play rook to e8. Just an idea. Here, if you have already kept this pawn on c4 and they have not taken it, I recommend taking here, actually, which looks kind of weird, because normally you wouldn't do that, but just hear me out. You're going to take back the pawn here. Now you're up a pawn, and now black has a couple options. So they don't want to get this fork, right? This would be a very bad fork. They don't want this. So they can go queen to d8 or queen to d6. Let's say they play queen to d6. Here, I recommend e4 against things like this, because this bolsters the knight there, and this also, you still have two defenders for this, the knight and the queen against the bishop and the knight, so you're good there. And you can always move the knight to give more protection in the center with the light square bishop, because the light square bishop is sitting there. Now bishop to e6 provides some more attack against the knight, and here I would play queen to b3. Okay, you are kind of hitting that, you are hitting this pawn, but also at the same time you're hitting this pawn. So just hear me out here. Now let's say they play rook ab8 defending. I recommend rook ad1 to give some more support for that pawn. And now let's say they take, you take with the queen, and you trade, and we end up here. Knight to e7. This is pretty easy to simplify. All you need to go is rook to e5 if this is how it's played. Trade, and now you got two pawns marching together. This pawn is defended by the bishop, and now what you're gonna do, you're gonna push this pawn, bring the king, right? Bring the king. The bishop has nice vision. Bring the rook over if you have to, and that will be a very nice endgame for you, because you're up a pawn, and in the endgame, a pawn can mean anything. Now let's go back here. Now let's say instead of bishop e5, you play knight to c3. Now there are some options with knight to c3 as well. Let's say again they play knight to c6. Now again, there's a lot of things going on here. Let me explain. Black can take here. It's not their move, but they can take. But now you can play bishop g5 again, okay, hitting the knight. You can also play knight to e5, okay. This can also be good in some variations. The point is, if they go here, they are hitting with the knight and the bishop, so you got to be careful. I would recommend going here. Actually, no, not there, because they can just attack you with the pawn. Sorry, I said that weird. You'd probably have to go here. It doesn't look great, but you know, you attack, you defend with the pawn, and now you'd probably want to trade here and take, and you'll be doing well, and you can bring the dark square bishop isn't crazy. It's not very nice here because there's a lot of pawns on dark squares, but in the future maybe you'll be able to trade off that dark square bishop. Now let's go back and okay, let's say this is where we are. Okay, now let's say knight takes d5. Okay, you don't want to take with the queen, right? So you trade, you go bishop to f4. Okay, the point is you're hitting the knight, and if they go back here, right? If they go back to c6, you're gonna take them. If they go back to knight c6, if they go c6, you're gonna take them. If they don't go c6, that's also fine. They can go here. So in this case, they can go here, and you can take them here. You can take this. Okay, so that's one idea. Now, like I said, let's say they play knight to c6. You take. This is not great for them, but in this case, you get that pawn, and you just bring the dark square bishop back. Now they take, and now you have a pretty bad pawn. And if they launch a kind of attack like this, all you're gonna do is just bring the king. You have this knight attack here with the two rooks. You got to be the knight attack. You have the rook attack here with the two rooks. You got to be careful with that. The best way probably is to get the king over here close enough, and then block this somehow, maybe with rook c1 and then c4 to block the bishop, and then bring the king to defend. And maybe at that point you can go here, but you got to be careful. Okay, so let me just show you what that looks like. Not that move. Okay, let me just show you. There's a lot of things here. All right. Now, instead of this, let's say you go here. Okay, rook ac1. And I'm just going to skip ahead here. Let's say we go here. They go back. I don't know. You can bring the king now. And if they infiltrate here, just don't worry about it. You will need to keep your standings on like where everything is at. But other than that, I mean, the king is pretty close. So that's good. And now you just bring the king over. So in that case, let me just show you what that could look like. Let me just make some random moves. In this case, you could even go there probably. Attack the rook. The rook has to go back maybe. Here. Okay, I wouldn't actually recommend that here because this could maybe be better, because if you go here, then they have checks and you don't want that. Whereas if you go back here, if you go back here, of course they cannot take you because of this. So that's good. And obviously they're just losing here. So I hope these just gave you a little bit of ideas on how to play the Catalan. Again, I enjoyed this opening very much. I think I even have a full Catalan video. Yeah, I think I called it like the best beginner opening ever. You can check that out over here. It's a great opening. I have had great success with it in my own personal rating climb and things like that. So with that being said, hopefully you enjoyed this 10-minute openings video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoy these videos. If you get anything out of them, please consider subscribing. Also, turn on the notification bell so you do not miss when you upload a new video. With that being said, I'll see you all in the next video. May or may not be on the chessboard. See you guys.